Accompanied Envoy, Wolverine, Chapter 1. Another one, Freddy. Heavy on the orchid nectar. You got it, Logan, said Fred Dukes, the bartender of the Green Lagoon, a secluded watering hole nestled into the heart of Krakoa, the living island that served as a safe haven for mutants from across time and space. The massive man plucked a beautiful tropical flower from a tiny garden behind the bar. He squeezed it in his oversized hand, causing the strange pink liquid contained within its delicate blossom to trickle into a tall glass. Mixing in a few other natural ingredients, he covered the glass and gave it a quick shake before sliding it across the bar to his most loyal customer. Not used to you ordering off the organic menu, Fred said with a smile, noting that Logan's tastes usually tended to be a bit more traditional. Yeah, well, I didn't come here to forget anything tonight, bub, Logan said, gazing at the nectar swirling in his glass. For once, I want to remember every detail. And I would like to hear them as well, a voice said as another man approached the bar. If you're willing to share, my friend. Logan looked up from his drink to see one of the greatest foes he'd ever faced, the mutant master of magnetism known as Magneto, taking a seat next to him. If this were a few years ago, Logan would have already popped his razor-sharp adamantium claws and taken the first swing. But these were strange times, and for a man who'd lived a life as long and eventful as the Wolverine, that was certainly saying something. Logan was used to the unexpected, but everything had turned upside down when the chronal disruption known as the time stream entanglement started wiping out realities. Krakoa may have been home to some of the most powerful mutants on the planet, but that still wasn't enough to keep it safe from the cosmic catastrophe's devastating effects. The island and its inhabitants found themselves swept up in a powerful temporal storm and nearly became lost in time and space. Aurora Monroe, the X-Men called Storm, managed to navigate the island safely through the tempest, but when the danger had finally passed, their new reality began to sink in. Krakoa had not only been transported to a different dimension, but to a whole new era as well, the year 2099. Always one to seize an opportunity, Magneto took advantage of the crisis, but not in the way most might have expected. Instead of trying to subjugate the unsuspecting humans of this future world, he instead opened the gates of Krakoa to all mutants who had become displaced by the time stream entanglement. His efforts had already earned him the respect of many, and the ire of many more. Magneto didn't care what the world beyond Krakoa thought of him, nor did he have any interest in mankind's petty squabbles. All he cared about was the safety of his own people and of Krakoa, but Logan knew that no man or mutant was truly an island. Still got your cape in a bunch that I've been running around with the humans, Eric? Logan asked, taking a swig of his drink and sneering as the festive, fruity flavors danced across his tongue. There are still so many mutants who need our help, Logan, Magneto responded. You should be focused on them. Our people ain't the only ones in trouble, Logan responded gruffly. Just 'cause most folks in this day and age don't seem to be born with the X gene anymore, it don't mean we can just ignore the threats they're up against. Helping innocents is one thing, Magneto said, his tone becoming more judgmental. But you're out there fighting the powers that be along some sort of human liberation front? Your careless actions could put a target on Krakoa and all those who came here for protection. Funny, Logan said, dismissing Magneto's concern. Since when have you been one to stand by and do nothing? Since the well-being of our entire species became mine to safeguard, Magneto replied. Fair enough, Logan said, but believe it or not, I'm doing what I do to keep Krakoa safe as well, from goose-steppers like the public eye, from corporations like Alchemex, and especially from that metal-masked maniac Doom. Magneto paused, knowing his companion was speaking the truth. Somehow, Victor Von Doom was still alive and thriving in this era. The king of Latveria had become more powerful than ever, both as a political leader and as a sorcerer. It was even rumored that Doom himself had kick-started the time stream entanglement, though there were conflicting reports as to whether it had been the Doom of this reality or another of his multiversal variants. Still, Magneto knew it was only a matter of time before Doom set his sights on Krakoa and the growing army of mutant soldiers for whom it had become a sanctuary. Perhaps Logan's actions were more justified than Magneto was willing to admit. Your allies in this resistance, Magneto said, considering his words carefully so as not to send the Wolverine into a berserker rage. Are you sure they can be trusted? With my life, Logan said without pause. There may not be many of us fighting this fight, but the ones we've got are the best there are at what they do. And the hottest, am I right? Fred chimed in unexpectedly from behind the bar. That Black Widow was always smoking. For a human, I mean. But then again, I guess she's got to be, like over 100 now? So maybe just forget I said that. Natasha don't look a day older than she did when she was in her prime, Logan responded. Guess I ain't the only one who figured out how to fight off the effects of aging. And there's someone else who just showed up that literally hasn't aged a day in a century and a half. Someone you probably ought to know about, Eric. Magneto and Fred listened intently as Logan began to recount his most recent excursion beyond the shores of Krakoa. Logan had left through a Krakoan gate to rendezvous with Natasha Romanoff in Tokyo. The Red Room, which the Black Widow was now using as her own personal spy network, had intercepted rumors that someone was planning hits on major crime organizations, including the Yashida Corporation. They needed to know if the person targeting these groups was a potential ally or yet another enemy to add to their list. But when Wolverine arrived at their usual meeting point, Natasha was nowhere to be found. He tried to contact her on the Resistance's secure comm channel, but she had gone radio silent. That wasn't like her. After a digging for intel and making a few minor threats, Logan learned that Natasha had gotten a credible lead about an ultra top secret Mercury level asset being stored at Alchemax's Tokyo HQ. Whatever it was, she must have realized that her window to recover it was extremely short if she was willing to risk going in without backup. Logan raced through the back alleys of Tokyo towards the Alchemax Tower, but he wasn't fast enough. Before he could reach his destination, a powerful explosion lit up the night and shook the city's streets. Worried about Natasha's safety, Logan doubled his pace, but instead of finding the Resistance's most elite spy, he instead found himself face to face with one of the most legendary warriors to ever grace the field of battle, Steve Rogers. "Captain freaking America?" Fred blurted out, snapping Logan out of his story. "You gotta be kidding me." "No joke, bub," Logan said, but the Boy Scout wasn't alone. Logan continued his tale, saying how Cap's signature red, white, and blue uniform was badly scorched, as if he had just walked out of the inferno at the Alchemax building. To make matters worse, he was now surrounded by a small squadron of Doombots that were all aiming their weapons at him. Logan wasted no time, popping his claws and leaping into the fray. As he furiously slashed, reducing Doombots to scrap, Logan never once questioned if he was on the right side of the battle. After all, if there was anyone who could be trusted without hesitation, no matter the timeline, it was Captain America. Cap didn't have his shield on him, but that didn't stop him from joining the fight. The super soldier was one of the best hand-to-hand combatants who'd ever lived, and even a seasoned warrior like Logan couldn't help but be impressed by Cap's strength and skill as he delivered blow after blow to the mechanical menaces. Once Wolverine had sliced the head clean off the final Doombot's armored shoulders, he asked Cap about Natasha. Cap confirmed that she was the one who had rescued him and said that she was safe. Logan warned that she wouldn't stay that way if they stuck around much longer. Cap agreed, noting that he had only just been unthawed in this strange new world, and he already had Alchemax, the public eye, and now Doom himself looking to get their hands on him. Logan considered bringing Cap back to Krakoa, but there were multiple problems with that plan. First, the organic gateways that allow Krakoan citizens to travel to and from the island in the blink of an eye could only be accessed by those with mutant genetic signatures. Second, as much as he hated to admit it, Logan knew deep down that Magneto was right. If their foes found out that Cap was being harbored by the mutants on Krakoa, it would almost certainly drag all of mutant kind into a war that none of them were ready to fight, at least not yet. "A wise choice," Magneto said. "But where is your star-spangled ally now?" "I'm getting there, pal," Logan said. "Hold your horses." Logan went on, telling how he took Cap back to a secure Resistance safe house. By then, the effects of the blast at Alchemax, not to mention the century and a half that Cap had spent trapped in ice, had taken their toll on the Sentinel of Liberty. Not even his super soldier serum was enough to heal his burns and reduce the atrophy in his muscles. Cap didn't have a healing factor, but Logan had access to something that could get his new ally back in the game again in no time. Making a quick trip back to Krakoa, Logan gathered some medicinal flowers and returned with them to the safe house. It wasn't long before Cap was back to his old self. His renewed vigor had apparently also renewed his sense of duty. "I owe you my life, soldier," Cap said upon his recovery. "This may not be the war that I was made to fight in, but I'd be honored to join your resistance and help you turn the tide against this Doom fella and any other fascist forces trying to crush your people beneath their collective boot heel." "Thanks for the offer," Logan said, "but that mess back at Alchemax has probably set off the public eye alarms across Tokyo and beyond. The Resistance is gonna need to keep a low profile for a while. And as great as having Captain America on our team might sound, it's bound to draw a bit too much unwanted attention." "I understand," Cap replied. "Do you happen to know anywhere else I can go? Preferably somewhere far enough away to keep everyone safe?" "There aren't many places left on this planet that aren't under constant surveillance," Logan replied. But that notion gave him another idea. What if the place he sent Cap wasn't on this planet at all? "Tell me, bub," Logan continued. "Have you ever heard of Wakanda?" "The African nation?" Cap asked, instantly seeing the merit in Logan's suggestion. They managed to hide their presence perfectly during the war. I doubt anyone would be able to find me there. And the good news is, I happen to be close friends with King T'Chaka. My shield was even forged from vibranium, a rare Wakandan metal. I wonder if they could make me a new one. Hate to break it to you, Logan said with a smile. But T'Chaka ain't the king anymore. And Wakanda is a long way from Africa these days. Logan informed Cap of how the Wakandans had set off to the stars in search of the true source of vibranium and had since built themselves an intergalactic empire. Cap seemed dismayed, but all hope wasn't lost. The current king of Wakanda, T'Challa, had been attempting to make strategic alliances to battle against a darkness he saw on the horizon. Ah, yes, Magneto interjected. T'Challa came to me seeking Krakoa's aid, but we were not yet ready to commit to such a partnership. Yeah, well, he came to Natasha too, Logan said, and she was smart enough to take him up on his offer. T'Challa had provided the Resistance with a single high-tech Kimoyo bead containing special code that could be used at any Wakandan embassy to open a passageway across the stars straight to the heart of the intergalactic empire of Wakanda. With Natasha still off the grid after the Alchemax incident, it was up to Logan to escort Cap to the Wakandan embassy in Tokyo. As much as Logan would have loved to carve a path through some public eye soldiers along the way, the two heroes managed to use their impressive stealth skills to get to their final destination undetected. When they arrived, the embassy was empty. The two followed T'Challa's direction and located the sculpture of Bashenga, the first king of Wakanda. As they stood in front of the statue, Logan activated the Kimoyo bead, and a portal instantly appeared. Cap gave Logan a salute, thanked him for his service, and stepped through, confident that he could handle whatever awaited him on the other side. With Cap safely delivered, Logan knew he had to return his attention to finding Natasha. But not before stopping back home for a quick refresher, Logan concluded, finishing off the last drops of the pink liquid in his glass and wiping his stubble-covered chin with his forearm. A fascinating tale, Magneto said. But what I find truly refreshing is the notion that perhaps we have as many friends in this new world as we do foes. Sometimes it helps to take your helmet off so you can see the full picture, Logan said with a smirk. Indeed, Magneto replied as he stood to walk away. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have much to do, and it seems much to consider. You and me both, Logan said as he placed his empty glass on the bar. Want me to fill you up? Fred asked, hoping that another round might come with another exciting story about Logan's adventures. Logan stood up and glanced down the trail that led out of the Green Lagoon. He knew he had to get back into the field sooner rather than later. Natasha was counting on him, and he had a feeling that it wouldn't be too long before he crossed paths with Captain America again. Sure, bub, Logan said, reaching back and pulling his cowl up to cover his eyes. But you'd better make this one for the road.